Two things there. Firstly, I've gone on record as saying that communications between the board of directors and the supporters over the last few years has been diabolical. You will remember that 12 months ago I voted for change, and over the last 3 weeks I've been doing my damnedest to try to open it out and open that dialogue with the supporters. So that's the first point. With regards to the spend, yes, without any doubt, for any club in this division to get through to the championship, you need at least 5 million, at least, and probably more nowadays. I mean, if I can just give you an example of that, currently our playing budget is in the top 6 of our division. It will exceed £1.3 million as the season goes on. There's a few much larger ones like Crawley, but we played Accrington Stanley yesterday where their chairman was telling me their playing budget is £500,000. So it just shows what you have to spend to move forward. But it is a plan. You all know you're not going to do this in a season, 2 seasons. It's going to take some time to do it. But it will take £5 million and probably a lot more than that to get to that level. So you have to bring in a lot through commercial sponsorship. You have to bring in a lot through the gate to get up to that level. You need that level of support through the turnstiles to get you there. But that's the aim. That's where we'd like to see it going. And I want to look forward with it and not backwards. Valiant 2001, 2003. Okay, that's happened. It's historic. Now everybody's got to move forward.
You haven't answered the question.
The investment will be millions. The investment will be millions. You can put that on record. I wouldn't say it here. The investment will be millions. And rather like Mo's suggestion...
Yes. Is that in actual investment in the club, or is it in training ground facilities and activity?
It's in absolutely everything. It's not. It won't be loans either. It is in the whole infrastructure of the football club, on the park, right through to commercial, right through to improving the stadium's facilities, all sorts of things. And you need those facilities to generate additional income.
Does that mean we're going to see the finish of the Lawn Street then?
That is an aim that we have, yes.
Mike, if I could just come back to the point that June was making earlier, a very valid point, I think, in terms of the legal costs for the EGM.
Yep.
I find it difficult to understand what you don't understand about her question in terms of the fact that you say it cost you, was it £68,000?
No, 60, I said it's about £60,000.
About £60,000, yeah. Okay. But I would ascertain that as part of the run-up into the EGM, we were made aware that the club were trying not to call that EGM at all. So I would ascertain that that actually it was, if you like, a fighting fund to try to ensure that the EGM was not called. Without those additional costs, then the legal bill wouldn't have been up to that. You're looking critical. It was kind of reported to me in terms of a conversation that had been overheard down at Stoke Council with Bill Lodi, that you were pleased because you'd found a way not to call the meeting. The loophole that was reported back was the fact that we needed to lodge with the Football Association any changes in articles before the EGM could be called. You weren't aware that we'd actually done that, and therefore the EGM ended up being called. So I think Jean's point is totally correct, that actually the additional costs were not there purely in administration of the EGM, but rather a fighting fund to protect your own positions on the board.
Malcolm, I would have to have a look at all the bills. There are a lot of bills in there, and I would have to go back and have a look at them just to see what they appertain to. But as I understand it, the bills started coming in about March time, and has continued through to the end of July. And I am fairly certain, and I can't be 100% certain, and I wouldn't say something that I can't substantiate, that the bulk of those bills are to do with the EGM one way or the other. But I really can't comment on what you're saying there because I don't know.
You don't know?
And if I could comment, I would, Malcolm, but I don't know.
Okay, so you're not involved in those conversations as a board member at that time?
No, I was not involved with them. I mean, you cannot be involved in everything that's going on, Malcolm. This came up at the last one, didn't it, when they asked about America. It's absolutely impossible. I have a full-time job, I've got companies to run. You do what you can, you give the time you can. We have an excellent accountant there. He would have been involved, Bill would have been involved. Bill Bratt, who was chief exec and was chairman, would have been involved in all this more than any other particular director.
Okay, I'll just leave this as a comparison for the people here. In terms of the legal costs, which were on our side, they were £30,000, so it was half that, and that was kind of starting from scratch. People who'd not been able to run an EGM before, so I'll leave you to make up your own minds. My second question. Okay.
But perhaps, Malcolm, you've got cheaper solicitors than we have.
Sorry, Matt. The meeting's not here about. It's not about me. It's not about North London Valley. It's not about the sport. It's about the role of the directors in running Port Vale Football Club over the last 8 years. And how well they have done or not done within that time frame. Let me see if I can ask a question which hopefully you should know something about, as you were there at the meeting. I want to know in terms of the decision that was made by the directors, you're the ones who can invite people onto the board, following the EGM.
Yeah.
You were in that meeting after the EGM, yeah?
In Bill's office, yep.
You were. Good. Right, okay. Was there a total agreement in offering to North London Valiants a second place on the board?
A second place on the board? I don't recall that. I recall in that meeting that you were offered a position, or North London Valiants were offered a position. You're talking about the meeting that took place in Bill's office immediately after the EGM?
I am indeed,
I only
yes.
recall that one position on the board was spoken about.
Right, okay.
I mean, there were no
the additional one was in terms of Mark, and then one other one.
Yeah. No, that's a different. No, I thought you were talking.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about the, in inverted commas, the representative from one of the groups sitting on the board.
Right. Okay. So you were there. The board were in unanimity about that offer being made, and you were part of that decision-making process.
I remember quite clearly being in that room and that offer being made. Yeah.
Right, okay. Can you just kind of fill in what you think the purpose of the offer was and what you hoped to achieve by making the offer?
Well, I think I said earlier on, I think that we need everybody to come together. Communications have been poor, and we need everybody on side to move it forward. If you've got dissent, it costs you money, it's not helpful for anybody. We can't continue with civil war. And it was thought that the feelings of the supporters and the votes were quite obvious out there. They wanted change, and that was one of the first moves towards it.
Okay. See, I'd really kind of put it to you that the fact that, in the words of Martin Tynesdale, that the offer was actually hollow and disingenuous, and the fact that the offer was only made in order to placate the fans and therefore was insincere. You've talked about being honest,
Yep.
transparent.
Yes.
I'd like to give you the opportunity to be honest and transparent in front of everyone here,
Yep.
and to admit that offer was disingenuous, it was hollow, and it was only there to placate the fans.
No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. The offer was a genuine offer. We recognised change was needed, and that was the first part of that change.
Okay, you knew that Northumberland Valiants didn't have...
I do not agree with Martin Tideswell's writing on that.
Okay. You knew that we didn't have £50,000?
Yes?
Okay, and then when you...
Well, no, we didn't know at the time we didn't have £50,000, but, you know, subsequently you said you haven't got £50,000.
Okay, that's fair enough. If information subsequently comes to light that irrefutably shows that what you have just said is not true,
Yes.
just bear with me, okay, will you resign as chairman and as a director of Port Vale Football Club?
I would like you to expand on that. What are you talking about? I was in that room with you, with the other directors, when that offer was clearly made to you.
I'd like to know if
Yes.
The final question was to do with honesty.
Yes.
I gave you the option of saying whether or not the offer was true, whether it was indigenous or not. You said that it wasn't.
No.
Okay. If information comes to light subsequent that proves beyond doubt that that offer was only there to placate the fans, knowing that that we wouldn't be able to take up that offer, it was there to placate the fans, will you resign as chairman and as a director of Port Vale Football Club?
What evidence are you talking about, Malcolm? If you're not prepared to talk to me properly, and you're going to talk about different things, and if this comes to light, if that comes to light, then I will not make a decision. If you come to me with any information that says that offer was not made by the board, if you come to me with that information, I'll then consider that information and see. But I was in that room and I know...
The offer was made. My question in terms of yourself and your resignation is that the offer was disingenuous and it was there just to placate the fans.
Well, it wasn't disingenuous, so that's the end of that, and it wasn't done to placate
so would
the
you resign if that was the case?
No, I'm sorry, Malcolm, what it was that the board realised change was needed. There's no doubt about that at all. We realised change was needed, and that was one way of starting to move forward and make some change.
Why block us at the EGM then?
How do you mean, why block it at the EGM?
You recognise change was required,
Yes,
but then you've all voted to keep yourselves in power.
It's sort of like turkeys for Christmas, isn't it? Everybody can vote the way that they feel like they were going to vote, and that's what happened at that meeting.
Right, just one final time.
Yep.
Okay, I know you really don't want to answer it, but I will ask you once again. But if evidence comes to light that the offer was only there to placate the fans, would you resign?
Yes or no? Yes or
No, it doesn't need a yes or no. What I'm saying to Malcolm is, Malcolm thinks that the offer was made just to solve the conscience of the fans. That's what you're saying to me, and I'm saying to you,
I know.
It was not made like that. Well, you say you know. You were in that room.
Some evidence that
against
Well, if he's got some evidence, then let's hear it now in front of everybody else. Not in a week's time. Let's hear it, Malcolm. Come on. I don't want to get into a row, but Malcolm, you're beating around the bush. You tell me what evidence you've got for that. All you've said is Martin Tideswell saying it was disingenuous.
Right, it's not my decision whether to release that information.
Well, then it's not my decision to give you an answer to it, Malcolm. Come on, you come up with the evidence now in front of everybody else, and I'll give you an answer. I'm serious.
No,
That's fair.
Okay.
Is that fair? So you don't think it's fair that should be that any evidence that Malcolm's got should be put forward to me at this point?
What about the evidence that supporters need from the board?
Sorry?
What about the
Hold on a
evidence
second, just a second.
What about the evidence that the supporters need from the board?
Hi folks, if we can, I think Malcolm's asked the question and we've seen what the response is and we need to move on from it. Steve, can I just put something back to yourself please, and then we'll go on from there. Cheers.